Welcome into the Gramlich and McLean podcast, presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Gramlich and McLean. It's officially week 2 here on the pod, and Ingles, of course, is there for whatever you need, for your tailgating needs, as if you're heading down to, let's say, Clemson-Troy this weekend, perhaps, Virginia-NC State. Very interesting game, early game in the ACC. There's a lot going on here at McLean, but we have some games to get into. We did talk Duke, Illinois. We're not really going to get into Duke, Illinois today because we did a full Duke, Illinois preview on Wednesday. So make sure you go check that out if you're a Dookie and you're like, well, they're playing number 11 Illinois. We got you. We got you covered, Eric McLean.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And it's funny, KG, last week was such a big week, right? And it's really exciting and everybody's thrilled and this and that. Week 2 is not that bad. There's some fun matchups.
Yeah,
there's some
good
pivotal games that can help this conference, that can help this league, that are good wins and really good games. And now we got to go out and do it. Got to go out and get it done. And can the ACC stack up another great week on top of a great week? I saw a bunch of people talking about this. SVP was talking about how magnificent and how big of a week, week 1 was for the ACC. So that's great. That's good news that the league is being able to capitalize and making some stuff happen. Sorry we didn't help, but I think all is well. All is going to be fine. We're going to talk about all of these and really excited to do so because there's some really fun matchups.
Well, Mac, to your point, with Clemson being the team that kind of didn't help, and of course, North Carolina, but we're not even going to go there.
Did they play a game?
Did they play? I'm not sure.
They played a really good first drive.
I told you, TCU.
We should have shut
good.
it off. We should have shut it down and said, yep, there it is. Super Bowl champs rolling.
That TCU offense can score, and I didn't think UNC was just going to get fixed like that. But, okay, speaking of the bigger picture, Mac, AP poll. Your girl said Clemson would not drop out of the top 10 because you got to put respect on LSU's name. And then Florida State would get top 15, and they did. So the latest AP poll, Miami's number 5, Clemson's number 8, Florida State number 14. Decent amount of respect there. SMU number 17, and then right in the receiving vote. So if you look at kind of where they are in the votes, Georgia Tech is technically number 28. They're the 3rd receiving votes. Louisville, number 30. So interesting right there. You got 6 top 30 teams if you want to look at it that way. And we can start with SMU, Mac. Let's get into the SMU Mustangs. Number 17, SMU, is going to take on Baylor at home, noon on the CW. Totals at 65.5. SMU's a 3-point favorite. It's such an interesting, I find this so interesting, Mac, in college football because you've got a team like Baylor that started off with Auburn, got punched in the mouth a bit, got ran all over, right? And then I just watched the highlights of SMU East Texas A&M, and I mean this with so much respect. I think I could play for East Texas A&M. That team was not very good. So SMU, they handled their business. I'm not gonna say they looked great. They looked fine, but it's just so different what SMU dealt with week 1 versus what Baylor dealt with week 1. Correct. And now they're going to play each other.
Correct. And that's a big deal. It's something where a little bit of a different game here, but still did Baylor impress anybody? Probably not. I mean, they gave up a billion.
And we didn't think
rushing.
Auburn was going to be that, Auburn's probably not going to be that good overall.
Maybe,
so.
We'll see. I think good offensive line, really good wide receivers, but you're right. Probably not, at the end of the day, but who knows? We'll see here. And, what can you take from that game plan if you're SMU and say, well, we can do that. We can be better than that. And I think the biggest issue is, you've got a quarterback who ran for 100 million yards on these guys. And do we think that, KJ isn't as athletic as Jackson Arnold? I probably do, but the key is, will SMU run him the same? Will they run him that much? Probably not.
I don't think
they probably won't do that, but maybe, because at the end of the day, we want to win. Everybody wants to win a football game, and if it's there, KJ, go take it. And so I was talking with some people, and they said, okay, well, maybe the reason they played that way is because, of Auburn's receivers and the threat of those receivers. And they were scared, so they wanted to have a lighter box, to have more of a shell type look. Okay, well, great. SMU can attack you there too. I'm not saying the receiving core is necessarily the same, but they're going to push that ball downfield if they can and if they want to. And so I'm fascinated just from a offensive perspective. How does SMU attack this thing? How is he going to, really want to go? Is it QB run? Do you rely on, those 3, 4 running backs that you feel really good about, making plays for you there and dominating? Can your offensive line get that same type of push, get to the second level and get on top of some of those defenders? So I'm fascinated just to see the game plan. And should have hit up Brett Lashley. Maybe I'll shoot him a text and we'll say it on TV or save it. Who knows? Maybe he'll let me do that. But I'm thrilled to see what that looks like. It's a noon kickoff, there at the Ford, and just to see how they want to do that. And then on the defensive side of the ball, for SMU, got a quarterback in Baylor that threw it pretty well,
Mhm.
last week and was getting the ball out, was able to do his thing. Those corners, which were a big issue last year, I don't feel great. I don't feel bad, but I don't feel great about them still. Can they step up and can they play at a high level at the cornerback position?
And there's some injury issues. Alex Kilgore, they're a little worried about him. I feel like it was an ankle, so hopefully he'll be out there. I wasn't able to find much, but I think they need him out there, that linebacker. But overall, Mac, when it comes to SMU, I don't think they want to run KJ like Auburn wants to run Jackson Arnold. Like,
Yeah.
they view KJ as much more of a passer, which he is. I mean, he is a great passer. The thing that worries me, and, KJ did throw the ball well overall. Romello Brinson was really good, Mike. He had 7
Mhm.
catches for 121. He was really explosive. This offense had very explosive moments. What always worries me with Kevin Jennings, until proven otherwise, is the turnovers.
Sure.
And, turnovers can be a game changer when you're playing a team that's much better than East Texas A&M. And he had that one pick in the end zone that was just not great. He kept the ball behind his receiver, and that was a pretty easy pick for East Texas A&M. He had like another fumble. I'm not sure if it was recovered or not when I was looking at the highlights, but that worries me a little bit, Mac. But overall, I think SMU is better than Baylor. I think that Baylor getting beat up week 1 and SMU not is a real benefit for SMU. Obviously, the game's at home. That place is going to be packed. This is an exciting game. As someone who grew up in Texas, SMU Baylor is not really a rivalry. I think it used to be, like, way
Sure.
back in the day. Baylor leads the all-time series 39-36 and 7 ties. Baylor has actually won 13 games in a row in this series, Mac. But they haven't played since 2016, and a lot has changed since 2016.
Yeah.
So we'll just put that out there.
Yeah, yeah. Put it out there for sure. And just to go back to the game plan, because I think all of it is, kind of relevant. Are they going to do kind of a Louisville game plan with Kevin Jennings? Where
Mm,
he was able to run the ball effectively. He did have a big chunky run. I think he had like a 60-yard run, within that game. But is that what it takes? Because I think he's the guy that
yeah.
certainly will do whatever his team is kind of asking from him. Just looking at kind of his rushes last year, the most times he ever ran in a game was actually against Duke, funny enough. And he had 13 rushes for only 40 yards. So it's not like it was really translating to the field there. He's had some other, big long runs, but he has that ability. So I'm fascinated to see KG again, the attack there. And then looking, even further at Baylor, you know, I think that defense is going to be more aggressive. I don't know if they're going to necessarily just allow you to run, kind of all over them. So we'll see. It's so early still in the season. We think we know, we don't know. Some teams have great tests, some don't. But as you mentioned, those turnovers, that's a big
hmm
deal. They're going to have to pay attention to that. Can't be careless with the ball when you're playing quality opponents.
Absolutely, Mac. Now, one more stat I want to throw out there before we give our picks. SMU, they obviously scored over 30 points against East Texas A&M. They beat them 42-13. SMU is 27-2 under Rhett Lashley when they score 30 or more.
Hmm.
The total in this game, 65.5. I feel like it's going to be a little high scoring. I think SMU is going to be able to get to that 30 mark. I think SMU is going to be able to win the game. 3-point favorite, which they're at home, which means this game is Vegas kind of sees it as a toss-up overall. That crowd should be. I know noon's kind of hard. It is what it is, but the crowd should
And
be
it's
ready to
really
go.
11 there.
I
It's
was going to
11
say it
in
is 11,
Dallas.
right? Yeah, yeah. I
Hey,
remember those
brunch and
days.
football. Let's go. What else would you want to do?
Yeah. OU Texas is always at 11 a.m. I think it's
Exactly.
diabolical. But I'm going to take SMU -3 here, Mac.
Good. I like that. I do too. And again, I think KJ is going to be the best player on the field. I think he's able to take advantage of some of those running lanes and just in general, like SMU is fine to run the ball. They want to run the football. And, can they exploit that with the versatility in their backs? I think the answer will be yes there. And just seeing who ultimately is going to, step up there. When you look at who they had
Yeah.
rushing last week, Derek McFall had 9 touches for 22 yards. Not great. You want to see a little bit better there. It's only 2 yards a carry. TJ Harden had 8 for 42. That's 5 a carry. Chris Johnson, who had a big run in there, had 6 for 44. So are those kind of the three, that you get going and that you are very different in what they do? And do you try to use a mixture of all of them? Does one guy step up? It is one of those things. And then also, a week ago, how vanilla was SMU trying to be?
Oh,
They
yeah.
probably didn't have to do much, in their mind from a schematic standpoint, motions, big plays, things of that nature. Just get out with the dub. And now can you unleash some of that and see a little bit more? I'm fascinated to see that as well. I'm taking SMU, and I think maybe the over is the play here. This might be a little bit of a track meet. We'll see.
Interesting. Yeah, I think you're exactly right with the vanilla nature. And that's the beauty of it for SMU. SMU is able to be vanilla. Baylor was not because they were playing a real team. Okay, let's get to I'm so rude to East Texas A&M. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. You guys, and of
You're
course,
going to have to talk about them again in a couple
about
minutes, so
they're
better
playing
get
Florida
ready.
State. Look, they like a challenge. I'll say that about them.
They like
Okay.
money. I do too. Smart.
Let's get to Virginia and NC State. By the way, quick plug. All of these teams we're talking about, Roback has their gear.
Hey,
okay?
come on.
They have the SMU gear is fire. They have Virginia and NC State. They have Virginia Tech and Vanderbilt. If you're here. So go check out roback.com, our code GM20. And I'm just going to throw this out there for the Clemson people listening. They have stocked the purple sweatshirt.
You need that. I don't
That's
even
all
have
you need
that.
to know.
Only KG is the only person I know who has that.
The purple sweatshirt
And now you can
is
too.
maybe the coolest thing I own. And now
Hey,
you can own
Shaylin, if
it
you're
too.
listening, can I have the purple sweatshirt? Can you hook me up, please? Thank you.
Mac, I can send you mine, my small.
Oh, might fit my wrist somehow, maybe.
All right, let's get to Virginia at NC State, a very, very early ACC game. NC State, a 3-point favorite, noon on ESPN2. The total is 53.5. NC State has won the last 3 meetings. They haven't played since 2023. NC State with a bit more of a challenge week 1 with East Carolina. They were up 17-0. They let it back in the game. It was all dramatic because it's NC State. And Virginia destroyed Coastal 48-7. Chandler Morris was wheeling and dealing. He went out in the third quarter, but per reports, he's fine. He's been practicing all week, so that's good news for Virginia. This is crazy, Mac, because Virginia brought in 50 new players.
Mm-hmm.
All 6 of Virginia's touchdowns came from transfers in that game against Coastal. There you go.
That's big time. That's a big deal. This is a fun game. This is kind of one of those games I was talking about. People, whatever. If you're not an ACC fan, you kind of see this. You're like, okay, who cares? This is going to be fun because this is 2 teams this year. Virginia with the relaxed schedule. I hate saying easy.
Relaxed.
Easier,
I like
favorable
that, Mac.
schedule. A new quarterback, 70 new people, or 30, 50. How many did you say? 50 new people?
50 is what I read,
50
but it
new
could
players.
be more.
Chandler Morris, my guy, coming home there. There's some thought that this could be a fun year. Then on the other side, you've got an NC State team that, for months there was no expectation and nobody thought anything of. Then you start diving into the tape, you're like, well, CJ Bailey is pretty good, and I think can be a superstar in this league. And they've got pieces with Hollywood and Grimes, who had a great game, last week. And, Fordham stepped up, had a tackle for loss sack and a bunch of fumbles, tackles. So what can they be? This feels like the winner of this game is going to have a bigger year. The winner of this game's, for sure going to the postseason and, going to be a big step and kind of projectile, moment for them. And what's going to happen? It's going to be fun to see. I'm excited that, this is in Carter Finley. Wish it was a night game. That place is super electric, but, let's go to work. Chandler got a little banged up last week and I think was taken out of that game or knocked out of that game. Coach Elliott said the other day, he's fine. He's back at practice. I expect him to play with his hair on fire. You've got a guy that just exploded, wide receiver of the week, specialist of the week, and Cam Ross. My gosh, this guy came out of nowhere, had like 130 yards receiving, had a 100-yard kickoff return to the house. He's going to be a weapon that NC State has to pay attention to. And then the fact that Chandler was the leading rusher as well for Virginia. So I like that. I like the game plan. I'm excited to see this game. And on the other side, just can NC State keep putting it together, keep growing? CJ takes some more steps. Had a couple of really bad throws, like uncharacteristic, I thought, throws in the ECU game. Had the one pick, but overall, 300-yard game. Thought he threw the ball, well when he was pushing it downfield. Love what I saw from Wesley Grimes. My gosh, that's what I thought he would do last year. He's doing that now, and then still got to run the football though.
Yeah.
That's like there were spurts, and I was like, there it is. And then there was also spurts where I was like, there it is. We're back. It's just, it's a little frustrating that they can't fully figure that out. But I think that Hollywood's the real deal. I think this is going to be a really fun game. And man, just the back and forth nature this game has could be really cool.
Yeah, it feels like NC State's got a lot of weapons. We've talked about that all off season. Grimes, it was great to see him just explode against ECU. You've got Jolie at the tight end positions,
Yeah.
Hollywood Smothers we talked about. And then for Virginia, it really feels like, at least so far, I know you talk about Ross, who was really good. It almost feels like Chandler Morris is going to, like, wherever this team's going to go, Chandler Morris is going to take him.
Yeah.
And he was fun to watch.
Which I'm cool with
Coastal.
that. That's what I thought we would get. And it was fun to see that in game one.
Yeah, so we'll see what he can do against this NC State defense. Now, NC State gave up 383 passing yards to East Carolina. So if
Licking
you're Virginia, that makes you feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Mac, I think you know how I feel in regards to our great friends up in Raleigh. I don't trust them. I told you that against ECU, and that came to fruition. And I thought at one point it wasn't going to happen. I thought NC State was dominating. They were up 17-0.
And then you put a curse on them. That was your fault. You just need to stay out of it. All right. Don't talk about my Wolfpack. Don't think about them. Don't tweet about them.
I'm going to be
away.
Kind of busy this Saturday, so I probably won't be tweeting about NC State. But overall, I don't trust NC State, and the stats back me up on this, Eric McLean. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
NC State, this is from intern Nick. Shout out intern Nick. NC State's one of the worst against the spread teams since 2022. Okay, about 40% against the spread. Even worse, when they're favored, Mac. When they're favored, NC State is 3-15 against the spread in their last 18 games as a favorite. That's crazy. Not saying they've lost every game, but they are not covering, kind of like the ECU game. And then Virginia is actually 7-2-1 against the spread in their last 10 games on the road. I like this Virginia team. I like kind of the new fresh blood that they have. I think there's still a lot of unknowns because they were able to keep it very vanilla against Coastal.
Yeah.
NC State not as much. I think Virginia goes to Carter Finley noon and wins the game.
I am not sure where this hatred for my beloved Wolfpack came from.
It's not hatred. It's just, I love you.
It's just facts, I guess.
Ya.
Yeah, you're hitting facts. It's not like it's just opinions. You're giving me solid numbers.
I have trust issues. I
get that. This is interesting because it comes down to who do I think is the better quarterback? I think that's going to be the difference. Do I think it's CJ Bailey, or do I think it's a guy that is super experienced, been around a lot?
24 years old.
But then I go to the weapons. You're watching this live in person, me figure this out.
We all know who Mac's going to pick. We all know who he loves.
And maybe that's the curse. It's the curse of the Wolfpack. I'm going with them. I don't have to worry about the spread because it's 2. Do I think they can win? Yes. If it's by 1, if it's by 2, if it's by 3 and they cover, great. I'm going with the Wolfpack again.
Okay.
I should have just said I think they win. I thought they'd cover. I thought they'd blow ECU out, and they did, and that was depressing. But yeah, give me the Wolfpack here. I think that CJ continues to get better. Again, I think he can be a superstar. I think the expectation that was nil this year, next year, there's going to be some. But you've got to win. You have to produce to do that. And they're undefeated. So I think they get that done. I like their offensive skill and quarterback better right now. And maybe that's foolish. I don't know. We'll see.
I get that because I think that NC State has more proven commodities. I'm more saying all these transfers for Virginia, we don't know enough yet.
Yeah.
They looked really good against Coastal. Like, I'm banking on let's continue to see it against NC State. So we'll see. I think look, NC State's a 3-point favorite, and they're at home, which means this is a pick 'em. And I'm curious with NC State fans, like, are we going to be there? Noon?
Yeah, they're going to be there.
Come
Hey,
on.
don't worry about my Wolfpack. We'll be
Okay.
there.
All right.
All right.
Take my Wolfpack's name out your mouth. Okay. I understand.
Do
that.
Wolfpack fans feel the same about me? Like, do they
They
despise
love
me?
you.
Do they love me? I don't
They
know.
love you.
I think they like me. I think we're friends.
Now, Wolfpack fans know how I feel about Westmore and the NC State women's basketball program, don't you? They know I love them.
There we go. There we go. Millie I'd gladly send Amelia there. That'd
you know who
fantastic.
covers NC State women's basketball? Okay. Let's get to Virginia Tech and Vanderbilt. Virginia Tech playing an SEC schedule, baby.
Here we go.
Virginia Tech, a 1.5-point favorite against Vanderbilt at home in Lane Stadium.
Did that surprise you?
Well, I didn't think Vandy looked great week 1, and I think people still have some questions about Vanderbilt. And I think Virginia Tech, okay, first of all, this game's 7:30 p.m. on ACC Network. I think we're seeing this in the internal vibe with the fan base versus external. We are seeing this with Clemson, where Clemson fans are like, we're done. Cancel the program. It's over. And nationally, people are like, you lost by a touchdown to a really good LSU team. You're still number 8 in the country. With Virginia Tech, yes, the offense, I get it. But Virginia Tech was in that game.
Yeah.
It was just an explosive fourth quarter where it feels like the defense got worn down because they realized the offense couldn't do anything against a team that everyone thinks is really good in South Carolina. So I think nationally in Vegas, people are a little higher on Virginia Tech in their first week performance than Virginia Tech fans who are probably also saying cancel the program in the season. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you what's interesting too. Just from an opponent perspective, as y'all know, I live in Columbia, Chicken City here. And I ran into a couple of Gamecocks this morning and they were kind of talking about the game. They're like, man, Virginia Tech's good. And I was like, are they? And they're like, yeah, that was a tough game. And I was like, okay. Yeah, the defense, I think you're right. But I just needed more from the offense. And that's going to be kind of the trend here. So the good thing, in my opinion, of this game, and we've said this, it feels like all preseason, you essentially have back-to-back games of a very similar offense and what they want to try to do or what they could do, with Diego Pavia. Now, he was really efficient last week, 20 of 25, 3 touchdowns, got his ball to All-American tight end, first team SEC. Maybe. Who knows? Future things happen. With Stowers there, the tight end. Stowers. And so that's going to be a problem. And if there was one, kind of issue from the, Virginia Tech defense, it was covering those tight ends early. There was a couple of, dash back. They're going across the line of scrimmage there, across the formation and getting wide open, making big plays. And so that's going to be something we've got to lock in on. I mean, this guy had 4 catches for, almost 90 yards a week ago. That's going to be a point of emphasis. So it should be for you as well, but also surrounding Diego Pavia, not allowing him to kill you with his legs and, just keeping that defense going. Because I was impressed with that. I mean, to sack Lenora Sellers 4 times, to hit him a bunch of others, to have 7 or 8 tackles for loss, that was fun to watch. The physicality was great. And can we build upon that, all year? And now, okay, offense, please. We've got to score in the red zone. We have to turn field goals to touchdowns. And can I see more of Drone's legs? How can he implement that? I love the passing game, to Green, and they were able to get that ball out. And seeing him run was awesome. That dude is so good. I just wish he could be healthy throughout his entire career. But then also Aiden Green as well. I thought the Green Bros, I don't think there's any relation. Maybe there is. They were fantastic. And so more of that, more passes down the field. Kyron's going to get more comfortable in this offense, I assume. And maybe we see it now. You're in Lane Stadium. It's a freaking night game. It's going to be popping. And that's going to be a real advantage, for the Hokies. So can they take advantage of that? Are they able to harness that energy, get it going, and just do something with this? Because, man, if you go 1-1 right here, which we have been clamoring for, it's huge, and it could change a lot in a hurry. If you go 0-2, it's a little bleak, and it's a little frustrating, and I think that people are going to get tired pretty quickly.
And again, you looked competitive against South Carolina, especially for 3 quarters.
But that was not my minimum for them. That was my minimum for Florida State. They blew that out of the water. Competency, I'm done with that. I need steps. I need
that
progress.
wasn't the minimum for Virginia Tech fans. Nationally, people were like, Virginia Tech, just look competitive. And they did. I said Vandy didn't look great. That's not what I meant. They just played Charleston Southern. So it's like we don't know anything. But it's very similar to kind of like the SMU Baylor discussion. Vandy didn't have to do much.
Correct.
They were able to coast.
Correct.
Virginia Tech played a really tough opponent. How does that translate here? And you mentioned Pavia and you mentioned the tight end. I think it's a very similar offense in a lot of ways, but South Carolina also has some athletes that I'm not sure Vandy has. So
Sure.
I think this Virginia Tech defense can continue to look really good. I was very impressed with them. It just comes down to the offense. Kyron Jones had some explosive plays, like for sure, but he ends up throwing 2 picks. He only completes 43% of his passes, and they can't score a touchdown. So it's got to be better, Mac.
Yeah, he did not finish the game strong.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a brutal ending, from just a perspective of closing it out and getting it done and putting
the fourth
us.
quarter was brutal.
It was brutal.
Both ways.
It was brutal. Putting us in position to win.
Virginia Tech.
It was really hard. I'm trying to find these stats for y'all real quick, but it was like I think he had maybe 2 completed passes in the fourth quarter, or maybe less than that. I don't know. It was bad. So, how can you flush that? How can you learn from it, move forward? I'm such a homer, and I know this.
No, do it.
I think Lane Stadium is good enough to win you this game. I think this defense is good enough to win this game. Do you score? Do you score on special teams? Do you not allow people to score on special teams? My God. Because that was a huge difference in the game, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Give me the Hokies, because I'm a homer, and they're favored by Vegas, so it's not like I'm crazy. Give it to me.
Mac.
And it's actually FBI is like 65%, so they're kind of confident in the Hokies.
I agree. I think Virginia Tech wins this game, and I'm not sure I thought that 2 weeks ago. I just feel like you can't take the fourth quarter out of the game. The fourth quarter is very, very important, but obviously it's kind of like the most important quarter. But Virginia Tech, I feel like they showed me enough, just from a competitive standpoint, athlete standpoint, trenches standpoint. The O-line didn't look great, Mac, but can you run the ball a bit better against Vandy than you did against South Carolina? You should be able to.
And here's the deal, too. I hate doing this. And again, I think this will be the last week for a while on this show. South Carolina's defense looked good. Like, I don't think that was expected. They lost so much.
Yeah.
They looked really good, and they looked super physical. They had guys flying around. I don't know if Vanderbilt has that. And so does that help you? Was that part of the offensive woes, the opponent that you're playing, does that factor in? Is this a little bit less quality and you're able to capitalize?
And that's the thing, too, again, just going back, beating a dead horse as I am, the national versus local perspective. Virginia Tech's fine. You win this game?
Yeah.
You're good.
You're in a good spot.
Go 1-1 against the SEC. So I hope, and I have no doubt Virginia Tech fans will be there. Yeah. I hope I know that first game's frustrating. You don't score a touchdown. I get it. But this is a much more winnable game, and you're at home, at night. Like, this is a game you can win, Virginia Tech. Yeah. So I'm taking Virginia Tech as well. They're 1.5 point favorite.
Come on, Hokies.
Let's go, Mac. Okay, let's take a quick break here. We're going to get a message from our great friends over at Ingles as you guys are getting ready to tailgate this weekend. And then we will get to some quick hitters on some of these top 15 teams.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Did you know that they have more local craft beer than any place else? Or that they have Energy Smart stores? Or that they professionally slice and package imported cheese from Europe? Did you know about their giant international aisle, local farm partnerships, curbside pickup, wine department? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
All right, guys, welcome back. Hey, we need you guys. We need your help. We need you to come over and subscribe to this channel. We need you to jump in the comments. Help us keep the lights on, please, so we can keep this thing going. It's been awesome. This past month, KG, you were going through some of the numbers with me. August was sick. You guys have been jumping on. Yeah, it's incredible. It was really, really fun to see. And I'm hoping, because it looks like the league's going to be really good, that more of you will jump on, more of you will subscribe, and we can keep this thing going. And who knows, bigger, better things. It all starts with you guys. So we would appreciate that love, would appreciate you. And speaking of bigger, better things, hopefully that's what we're going to see from our friends at Syracuse. Because, again, very similar, I think, to Virginia Tech in a way.
Yeah.
It wasn't horrible. Wasn't good. Wasn't horrible. I think you showed some things, but you still lost by nearly 20 points. Go back and forth on what I saw from Syracuse last week.
That was a great transition, Mac. I feel like it was the flip side, right? The Syracuse offense looked
Yeah.
somewhat formidable, right? The defense gave me a lot of pause against Tennessee. So Syracuse is our quick hitters. We're just going to run through Syracuse and then hit these top 15 teams. Syracuse is going to host UConn, 6.5-point favorite, noon on AC's Network Extra, total 58.5. As we said, offense not necessarily a problem. The defense gave up 45 points, only had 3 tackles for a loss, and 0 sacks. They gave up 250 rushing yards to Tennessee. I'm not saying UConn is capable of that, but you got to be able to slow down the run. UConn did run for 300 yards on whatever team that I could play for that they played week 1. What did you think overall, Mac? Defensively, like we said, it feels like that just has to be better. Tennessee, maybe not a great matchup week 1, but Angeli and this offense felt like they got some things going.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting how many plays Syracuse ran. Like they ran 80-something plays. They rushed it 40 whatever time. I mean, they rushed it a ton. And is that good? Is it bad? I probably want to throw it more, but they threw it 40
He threw it 40 times. Yeah.
It's a lot. And so there was just a lot of offense. They were able to move it around a good bit here. And there was obviously balance in play calling. But, I would like to see him push the ball downfield more, would like to see him throw it more. I think these receivers have a chance to be pretty good. Obviously, you're going against a very good defense, and we knew that in Tennessee. Do you see another one of that stature? Probably because you have the hardest schedule in the world. So it's not going to be unfamiliar for you to see that. Does UConn have that? No. So can you capitalize? Are you able to make those adjustments and, get some confidence as you continue to roll, this year and be excited to see what they're able to do there. On the other side, you mentioned you got to stop the run. I mean, UConn's going to do it. This is a good team. I mean, this is a 9-win, 10-win team.
People forget that.
Yeah, they do. They do forget that. And they're well coached. They're really well coached by Jim Moore up there. So, just seeing what you're able to do, what you're able to capitalize on. Can we see growth? Because as you mentioned, the defense 1,000% let them down a week ago. And it was like any momentum Syracuse got. And it's like, okay, we scored. Here we go. 2-play touchdown, Tennessee. And you're just like, oh my God, we have to go back out there. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And so, that'll be an interesting factor. Give me the orange. Give me this offense bouncing back and really having a big, kind of game as they're at home for the first time in front of their fans.
I really don't like this spot for Syracuse in that UConn had a very much vanilla, everyone's happy game week 1, and Syracuse got beat up pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Syracuse loses. I think they win, but I think UConn covers 6.5. Yeah, I think this game is tight and uncomfortable, just like it was last year. Syracuse only won by 6 last year.
Yeah, true.
So just keep an eye on that one. I think it's a tough spot for Syracuse coming off what they just had to do in week 1. Yeah. Mac, let's run through our top 15 teams. All right. Number 14, Florida State playing my East Texas A&M, whatever their mascot is.
Lions?
Noon.
Are they the Lions? Yeah, they're Lions.
That's what I'm going to be doing Saturday. That's why I'm busy. I'm going to be playing for the Lions.
You're going to be there.
Noon on ACC Network. I saw a great tweet from a Florida State fan, and they tweeted at East Texas A&M or whatever and said, "Do not touch our quarterback." That's what it said. Because, there's a little bit of scarring from maybe a recent injury to a big-time quarterback. Yeah. I think you play Tommy first half, maybe. This needs to be the most vanilla thing you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
Get those backups some time. Just go out there and handle your business, Florida State. Don't let anybody get hurt, please.
Yeah. No, 100%. And really, the reason I wanted to talk about these games, just because, A, they deserve it, but B, Florida State looks so good. I mean, I knew it was good when I was seeing it on TV, but it's different. When you can watch the film and you can see this, I mean, their O-line was punishing Alabama. There were multiple times, KG, and I'm not going to get too graphic or disrespectful, but they are putting them down and going over them, if you can imagine kind of what I'm talking about. It was awesome. It was so sick. And they just bullying them. I mean, you've got tight ends getting to the second level, destroying linebackers. Tommy just snatching ankles right and left. Just blown out leg on the floor because he just, see you later. I mean, it was awesome. And they ran it 50 times. They didn't have to throw it if they didn't want to. We probably won't. Maybe we'll see some. I want to see them push the ball downfield. I want to see some big throws like they had. Yeah, and he had some against Alabama, but some 50-50, to Deuce, throw it up to Deuce. Let me see what he can do type thing, just to get you some reps, get you going in a real game when it matters and we're score here. And that's what I hope we see. On top of, I would not be shocked at all if Florida State's going to run it for 300 yards plus. I mean, that's virtually a guarantee. So that's what I want to see from these guys. Defense was just hammering dudes left and right. I mean, this feels like the Florida State teams that I played against. It feels like the Florida State teams back in the day that just would punk you, would bully you, and laugh at you, when they're doing it. So can they continue that? They did it week 1. Can we build on it, build on it, build on it? You're getting respect. You surged up the poll. I think you should be higher. Keep winning. That'll all take care of itself. And I guess I have to put an asterisk. Don't get anybody hurt.
Yeah.
Because winning doesn't just take care of itself. But I think they're going to be fine. I'm super excited. I mean, the drastic turnaround that we have in our brains and our hearts about Florida State right now is great. And it's super fun. And I'm all in with these Noles.
It's amazing the difference a week can make when you talk about Florida State. I'm going to save Clemson because I think it's a little different discussion. Number 5, Miami versus Bethune, 7 p.m. ACC Network Extra. It's the same discussion, right?
Same. Yeah.
Just go handle your business. Carson Beck play the first quarter. I don't even know. Get some of those backups in there and make sure everybody stays healthy. So I think it's very similar there for Miami Mac. And I thought it was very good to see Miami jump to number 5 in the poll. Of course, you can't jump over Penn State or any of those teams. Penn State, Ohio State, of course, beat Texas, but Penn State just has a birthright to top 3 for doing that.
For some reason, they do.
I never understand that, but that was good to see, Mac.
Yeah, it was. And it was fun to see. And everything I just said about Florida State, I want to see that from these guys as well. I want to see it from them as well. I want to see, balls getting pushed downfield, some nice completions, but also like run the ball, handle your business, get out. Like that's kind of where it is. And maybe a little bit more consistency from, the defense. Let's not allow these guys to run. Let's not allow these guys to have big plays. Let's play really sound. If you can shut them out, you feel great, and that's a huge deal. But let's limit and not be silly. If young guys get your chance, know what you're doing. Be ready to play, earn more playing time, take care of it. That's really what I want to see from the Hurricanes, because very similarly, and we spoke about this, and some people are giving me a little pushback, which I think is interesting. I don't know who they're fans of. I couldn't really tell on their, Twitter profile pictures and stuff. And I wasn't going to dig around what they like and whatever. But I kind of said, I never was worried about Miami. I just felt like they were in control the whole game. And I know it was tied. I know they kicked the game-winning field goal, but there never was a moment where I was like, these guys might not win, and that's what the confidence that I had from it when they cruised. And by the way, they were not favored. They were underdogs at their house to these guys. And so, more of that from Miami. See Carson slinging a couple times, and then let's move on. We got bigger things coming down the track.
Absolutely. Okay, let's finish here, Mag. Number 8, Clemson is playing Troy, 3:30 p.m. on ACC Network. Tigers are 33.5-point favorite.
33?
Yeah. I think.
Why do we do that? Why do we even put spreads when it's over 21 points?
Because people love to bet on things. Well, there's no spread.
Yeah, then we say, well, Clemson won by 30. They didn't cover. Against the spread, they suck. And it's just like, what?
There's no spread for Florida State or Miami with those games. But I think Clemson does cover because I think Dabo's mad. Now, I don't understand why it takes a loss for Dabo to get mad. That's a little frustrating. But what are we going to see, Mac? Run the ball, please. That would be nice. The defense obviously is going to be fine. It's just going to be an interesting. We are not going to learn much. No one's going to say, and if you do say this, it's just not right, that the offense is fixed if they go out there and score 50 on Troy. But you got to see a commitment to running the ball against a team like Troy.
Well, I think this is super weird because of all the things we've said before, and y'all can go watch, Monday's episode where we discuss all of these things. Kind of our thoughts on Clemson, where Clemson is, and the frustrations. And there's a handful of reasons. And again, I love how blunt and matter of fact Coach Dabo Swinney has been this whole week. And I don't know, refreshing in the right word. I don't like that he has to do it, but I like that he's doing it. I like that we're not sugarcoating. I like that we're not, giving excuses for why things happen. He's just like, K didn't play well. He has to play better. Our offensive coordinator did not call a good game. He did not help our quarterback. We've got to get better. We've got to run the football. And I don't know if I've ever heard him talk that way in regards to those two things, specifically quarterback. I mean, I don't think we've ever heard that. And there's reasons for it. I think there's two reasons for that. Cade's good enough. He should. That was a bad game. is what he threw 50%. That's a bad game.
Mhm.
And still Clemson had a chance. He's a great player. He's going to respond. He can handle it now. I think a couple years ago he couldn't handle it. If he would have said that, Cade's done. He can't take it. Now I think he can. There's also a massive money piece of this now. You're getting paid to play. You're getting paid to execute. You're not getting paid to throw at 50%. Okay. So that's a big deal. And I think some pressure, we're going to start seeing that, and some guys, speak differently, about players and things of that nature. So those are kind of the two things. But at the end of the day, I don't know if it's bigger, actually. I would have to watch it with them and really see it. But based on things that I saw, you've got to help them. Coordinator-wise, we have to call things. We have to do better. You're getting paid a lot of money yourself to call these plays, and it just wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough for anything, what that Clemson has done. So regardless, flush all that. Sorry, we kind of blasted the past there. It's very similar to a year ago. When you're playing Georgia, you get aired out in the second half. And then what can you learn from App State? Well, you get some other guys in, some other things start happening, and there's some excitement. There's some instant oh, there it is. And that's a little bit different because Clemson wasn't coming off of a playoff run like they are this year. They weren't coming off the prolific offensive season, pushing the ball downfield like they did. But that's where it started. And so to me, is Gideon Davidson, Bryant Wesco of App State. Does he get in the game, and does he have a big, long touchdown? Does he run the ball super effectively? Is Adam able to do that? Because they commit to it. They don't just give Adam the ball one time in the second half. Egregious. Anyway, neither here nor there. So yeah, I think we can get excited, maybe not necessarily learn, but I think we can get excited and maybe scale back a little bit to where we were a week ago on who this team can be, what they can be. After watching the film too, that defense played really well.
Yeah.
And there was some times, like the first play of the game, how much does that change everything? If LSU doesn't have a 26-yard run to start the game, instead they have a 2-yard tackle for loss, how much does that change everything? Who knows? But it didn't happen. So, there's a couple of things. Need to see the D-line, do their thing. But overall, I was impressed with the defense. And there were some people and some players on that defense that I thought really shined. Now, wasn't the people you thought that you were going to have be superheroes, but I was impressed. And I think that defense is going to be really good. I think they grow together. By the end of the year, I will not be worried at all about that side of the ball. But I need to see 2 be 2. Need to see him do his thing. Need him not to miss routes. Need him not to miss hot reads, not scramble, just to scramble.
Wide open guys.
Yeah, and I need us to call a better game. Okay.
Some of those were hard to see. Some of those kind of broken down plays where you see who's wide open. Two things for me, Mac.
It's hard to do, right? Like if you're looking this way and this guy's wide open,
I get it.
It's
but
easy for you and I to say. But also, when you look this way and you see the safety going from here to here, not open. I got to get back over here. I got to do it. And listen, I've never done it, but I know enough about football. I know where we're going. He can do it. It's not a question of can he do it. He can do it, and he will.
He's done it before. The money piece is a fascinating point, Mac. But okay, 2 things for me really quickly. I feel like one of the big differences between last year and this year, and if I'm misremembering this, Clemson fans will correct me, but I feel like I'm remembering it correctly. Post Georgia, Dabo took all the blame.
Yes.
Post LSU, he didn't.
Yeah.
He really, like you said, it was fired up Dabo saying Cade didn't do what he's supposed to do. And, Garrett Riley got away from the run and didn't really call a great game. I think that's interesting to me, Mac. That's a big difference because, and obviously Georgia was a lot more disappointing. I think, again, the local Clemson people are freaking out. But overall, nationally, you're number 8 in the country and you lost to a team that is, I think, going to be very good. So that's a big difference, Mac, the way that it's being handled publicly.
Yeah, it is. And again, I think that because of the success last year, because of the growth, he's old. Cade's old. He's a senior, in a world where people leave early or used to leave early. They're staying now. And you've got a, 3-4-year coordinator, 3-year coordinator. Get it together. Let's make it happen. The excuses are, see you later. Just do it. Execute. Did you do your job? Yes or no? No. Okay, let's grow from it. Or things will happen.
My other thing, I do think, there were saviors to come, like with Wesco and TJ Moore last year that you didn't see against Georgia. I'm not sure that you necessarily have that. Now, Gideon Davidson, he may run all over
I think
Troy,
he could be that. I think he could be that.
Can he pass protect? That's my
I don't
question.
care about that. I
But
don't
Mac,
care about
that's why
pass
he
pro.
didn't play against LSU.
Well, see,
Dabo
and I have
literally
a
said
quarrel
it.
with that. It wasn't a. I think the specific thing he was talking about. Listen how dumb this is. This is dumb. I've got a true freshman who's a running back, not a fullback, a running back. And you want him to be the lead blocker on Harold Perkins, who is arguably the best outside
He's a
linebacker in
monster.
college. Why? Why is that the way he
Yeah.
earns playing
No,
time?
I hear you. I hear you on
Hand
that.
him the ball, and can he go 80? That's how I want playing time. It was
Give
the
him the
same
football.
thing with Travis Etienne. He doesn't know pass. I don't care. Omarion Hampton, his freshman year at North Carolina, he doesn't know. I don't care. What does he do with the ball in his hand? And if he, guess what? If he can't pass pro, put somebody else in. Win the game. Put your best players on the field. And he might not be that. I don't know. I have no idea. But
I'm
for
not sure
that
we'll
to be
learn it
the
against Troy, but it
excuse-
will be interesting.
Yeah, that to be the excuse drives me
Yeah.
insane about running backs.
I hear you.
don't care if they can block. I do not care. What do they do with the ball in their hand? That's why they're a running back, not a blocking back. Okay.
They don't have to block if you give them the ball.
Exactly.
That's the other thing.
So we'll see. We'll see. That was when I saw that answer, I was like, okay, this is stupid. This is frustrating.
We have been
Maybe not.
ranting about Clemson Troy for too long. We got to go.
Who knew we were going to talk about that for so long? Hey, guys, if you're still
Not
here,
shocking.
thank you. Appreciate you joining the entire show. It's going to be a fun week. I'm excited to recap all of this on Sunday, Monday, and just to see what happens. It's going to be cool. There's a lot of opportunity, and we say that a lot, and it just feels like, we can capitalize some. So excited to continue to break it down. Thank you guys always. As we said earlier, subscribe, jump in the channel, leave some comments. We're going to keep this thing rolling, and excited to see what these teams do. But we appreciate y'all always. Until next time, we'll see y'all.